Hey everyone, what's going on? It's good to be back from the beach. Maji here, and in this video I'll be giving the patch notes rundown for October 24th update, which was of course last week, but I was gone to the beach so I didn't get a chance to write it down until now, so here you go. There's a lot to cover this week. First up, under the graphical category, a missing half roof east of Taverley has been fixed. Serlin's skin color now matches his chat head color. Some slight clipping issues have been fixed with Doric and Boric's chat heads. Some clipping issues have been fixed around the Goblin Village. Areas to the south of the baby blue dragons in the Taverley dungeon no longer force walking around their edges. Some floating wall pieces have been removed in the Taverley dungeon. An animation in the Diamond in the Rough final boss fight will now play more consistently. A grapple hidey hole is now has an updated animation. Longbows will no longer clip to the player's body as they are being strung. Flickering effects have been fixed around the platform edges in the Brimhaven Agility Dungeon. Entering the station from the Another Slice of Ham quest with Bloom on will no longer cause the screen to go bright white. Entering the final cutscene, a Path of Glue-Free quest no longer causes the screen to go bright white with Bloom enabled. The Caridian Genie Cave should no longer cause a white screen if entered with Bloom enabled. Remove the water from the Goblin Tomb to prevent players' feet from disappearing. The arrow effect from the Boogie Bow now lines up correctly with the player instead of shooting them in the tail like I showed in a previous video. Trading bows no longer stretch when walking. Short bows are now drawn using the string rather than the limbs. Some rock formations near Al-Qarid no longer let implings fly through them. When chopping an evil tree with no hatchet equipped, your equipped weapon is no longer displayed every time you swing at the root. The camera is now raised in a certain point in Pollen of Nietzsche to prevent viewing through scenery. Styles' animation has been fixed so that his head isn't trapped in a lobster cage. Some monks in the Great Brain Robbery have had their animations tweaked to lessen the stretching of their height. The picture in the Falador Saloon now shows the image with Bloom turned on. The Falador herb farming patch has been leveled out. The fruit tree patch in the Tree Gnome Stronghold now has a farming style border of stones. A bed in the Necromancer's building is no longer facing the wrong way. A tree in the Elflands is no longer split into two halfway up the trunk. They fixed issues with Archaeologist Kerner and Abigail ready animation stretching. Emotes from the Solomon's General Store are no longer broken by combat. And finally, under the graphical category, the breakdance emote no longer causes head stretching issues. Next, under the quest challenges and achievements category, it is no longer possible to enter the Elflands by walking past some scenery without the prerequisite quest completed. Quests that cannot be pinned no longer have the pin option. The Some Like It Cold quest is now checking the right quest completion state in the Adventurer's log. The dossier during the Black Knight's Fortress quest no longer disappears too quickly. The Death Touch darts now work against the Balance Elemental, although I'm not entirely sure why you would waste them against the Balance Elemental. A minor typo has been corrected in Viliaf's dialogue, I guess that's how you say his name. Several minor grammatical errors have been corrected in While Gothic Sleeps. A typo has been corrected in the Dwarven Canon Quest Journal. And some typos in the Diamond in the Rough and Stolen Hearts quests have both been fixed. Next up, under the Skills and Minigames category, several safe spots have been removed from Soul Wars. Penguins that are disguised as pumpkins now have sounds attached to their ready animation. Audio has been added to range sections of the circus. An issue with the message displayed when evading events while tempo tracking has been fixed, and a typo in the Soul Wars guidebook has been fixed. And finally, the other/miscellaneous category this week, random events have been turned off, finally. All music tracks will now unlock automatically from these events, points can still be spent, and an alternative method of obtaining the costumes and emotes will be introduced in the near future. The Scarecrow mask can now be equipped by free-to-play players. The world map blue marker has been removed when directing players towards a goblin raid. The counter on killing up to 15 goblins now states when it hits 15 out of 15 killed. It is no longer possible to get 2 pairs of cooking gauntlets by placing 1 pair inside your tackle box. A force walk tile in the Cowfight lair has been removed. The Attack 5 track now unlocks correctly upon entering the King Black Dragon's lair. You should no longer start dying from thirst in a corner of the Desert Strikeworm area. And also players can no longer stand underneath a Strikeworm for so long before it decides to knock the player back. An issue with the bandit spawning in a cliff in Palm Niche has been fixed. It is no longer possible to buy multiple copies of a dungeoneering ability before the player has used their ability scroll. The deactivate option is no longer given on hairstyles in the customization interface. Gili Garotz, I guess that's how you pronounce her name, no longer gets confused between mountains and fences. Considering if you were get confused between a mountain and a fence, you're not really all that smart. If home teleport animation is interrupted, the audio will now cut off sooner. Entering the Blood Altar will no longer change your active music track. The spiritual music track has been removed entirely, as it was identical to the Taverley Ambience 2. The sound of the wind and the waves can now be heard around the inner rim of the Lunar Isle. All non-coin currency shops now use a jingle when an item is bought. The Dragon Simi Special Attack now has a sound effect attached to it. And finally this week, a typo in the Wise Old Man's speech has been fixed. So that is the patch notes for October the 24th. Of course, if you would like the next round of patch notes whenever the next update is released, subscribe to my channel for more and be sure to check out one of the recent videos. I thank you all for watching and hope you all have a great day.